What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Jon Jones teases last UFC fight. Many of the recent headlines regarding if and when Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones are going to fight have been the result of comments that Aspinall or Dana White have made. But due to a recent social media post from Bones, many are wondering if an announcement could finally be coming down the pipe. After scoffing for months at the idea that he should fight Aspinall in November, Jones finally opened the door to the fight happening, provided a serious payday is attached. But despite various reports from Aspinall that news was coming soon, or White repeatedly insisting that the fight will take place, there's still no official word. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Well, more recently, Jones turned heads with the following social media post. Here was some of what the former light heavyweight champ and current heavyweight king had to say. Now, as you can see, still haven't framed or hung the Stipe fight yet. Been moving a million miles an hour lately, but there's one last perfect spot left on my wall of victory. And looking at this wall, it really hits me. This isn't just artwork, it's legacy. Every poster tells a story. Different chapters, different homes, different battles, wins that meant the world at the time, fights that made history. I've said it before, my career has not been perfect, but it's been undeniably legendary, epic, special. Just a few words that come to mind. Legend after legend, era after era. And then, while discussing his career to date, Jones added, "What I'm most proud of? I've evolved. I'm so much more than just a fighter. I'm a man growing stronger in my faith, a family man, a loyal brother to my team, a businessman, a leader, a man for my community. And I know without a doubt my mother would be proud of the man I've become." The wall's almost filled, but trust me, the story's still being written. The best is yet to come. Not surprisingly, Jones's post prompted plenty of reactions online. His marketing is as good as his fighting. He hasn't framed the Stipe picture, so the last picture will be Stipe, meaning he's not fighting Tom. Gonna haunt him forever when he gets slept unconscious by Tom and has to see his face on a poster every day. So do you think Jones is teasing he's gonna come back and fight Aspinall? He did state the best is yet to come. Arman Tsarukyan apologizes for boring fight. Arman Tsarukyan was back in action on Friday, not in MMA action, and while the lightweight contender was victorious, he wasn't too happy with what went down. Tsarukyan faced Makhachev Zhynukov in a grappling match at Karate Combat 54 and proceeded to win a unanimous decision. Zhynukov is a teammate of Islam Makhachev and trains out of Khabib Nurmagomedov's gym. After the match, Tsarukyan proceeded to trash what transpired, and he apologized to the fans for the lackluster bout. "I knew this fight was going to be like this, boring. When two guys they know freestyle wrestling is difficult to take down. If you bring MMA fighter versus jiu-jitsu guy, there's got to be more ground game, you know? Sorry it was not too good for fans, but I hope you enjoyed it. I haven't fought in 1 year, and that's why I came and wrestled today. My opponent was very hard guy. Nobody knows him a lot because he fights in Russia, but he's from a strong team and was tough." The Armenian also took the opportunity to not so subtly call out Makhachev. "I need one more guy from Khabib's team." If Tsarukyan scores a victory in his next UFC bout, provided Islam is still the lightweight champ, he should get his wish. While we're on the topic of Arman Tsarukyan, during a post-fight interview, he revealed that he turned down a UFC fight in July. According to Arman, the UFC matchmakers offered him a main event fight in Abu Dhabi, but he turned it down because he wasn't happy with his opponent that they wanted, which was Mateusz Gamrot. He said, "They offered me a fight in Abu Dhabi in July main event, but I turned it down because they offered me an opponent I didn't want to fight. He is below me in the rankings, so I didn't see any reason to fight him in MMA. I see no reason to fight just for money. I need to fight a top 5 or a top 6 opponent at the very least to make sure my next fight will be for the title. I am the #1 contender. Why would I give such a gift to a guy who's ranked number 10? Nobody did that for me. When I made it to the top 10, I fought top 9, top 8, top 7, top 5, top 4 before I became #1. I don't want to put my spot on the line for free." What are your thoughts on Arman Tsarukyan turning down a fight with Mateusz Gamrot? Let us know down in the comments below. Daniel Cormier calls out the MMA community for double standards. Some fans are piling on Islam Makhachev over the fact that he's repeatedly said he's not interested in fighting Ilia Topuria. And recently, Daniel Cormier fired back at the champion's critics. Now that Topuria has vacated the featherweight title and is moving up to lightweight, the consensus is the UFC wants to have him fight Makhachev. But the lightweight king has argued defeating yet another featherweight star won't do much for his legacy. Islam defeated the legendary Alexander Volkanovski twice. Due to this, some fans have even proposed that Makhachev be stripped of the belt if he refuses to fight Topuria. That has not sat well with Cormier, who recently told Chael Sonnen this. "You know what, it's annoying to me? Islam Makhachev has said I don't want to really fight Ilia Topuria because he's a 145-pounder, and I've done that. Give me somebody else." People are like, take the belt off him, he should be stripped. And before alluding to Jon Jones, DC also said this. People are like, it's either strip or defend for Makhachev. Why? In the last 2 years, he fought Volk, he fought Dustin, he fought Volk again, and he fought Moicano. He fought them all. He's fought 4 times. In that amount of time, the heavyweight champ fought once. Even if you'd skip your cousin's wedding to watch the Makhachev-Topuria fight, it's hard to argue with Cormier here. Makhachev just fought in January, and that was his second fight since last June. Jones, meanwhile, has fought only 1 time since he won the heavyweight belt back in March of 2023. All that aside, Beneil Dariush was asked if he thinks Islam is in a lose-lose situation if he fights Topuria, and the lightweight contender agrees. There's truth to that, for sure. It's not like Islam is going to be the underdog in this fight. If you look at Ilya's fights, he's been taken down. He can be taken down. It's not impossible. What's your take on all this? Do you agree with Islam's stance on the fight? Belal Muhammad sends a warning to Jack Della Maddalena. The path to the upcoming scrap between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena certainly hasn't been littered with trash talk, but recently, the UFC welterweight champion issued a warning to the contender. Maddalena has been booked to fight Muhammad at UFC 315, which is going down on May 10th in Montreal, Quebec. For some time, the expectation was that Muhammad's first title defense would come against Shavkat Rakhmonov, but due to injuries, Maddalena got the call instead. Well, more recently, Muhammad spoke with Brian Campbell, and while discussing Maddalena and what JDM brings to the table, Belal offered this warning.
With Jack, he can only do one thing. He can only box. He can only strike. That's his only path to victory. Me, I think I'm going to go in there and outstrike him, and then for him, he's not going to have a plan B, and then that's frustration is going to hurt him. That's where the inexperience is going to kick in, where he didn't have to go the long road I had to go through. He didn't have to go through 5-round fights, and then it's going to go to that point where he starts drowning and feeling like there's nothing else he can do.
It'll be interesting to see if JDM can negate the seemingly endless pressure that Muhammad brings in fights, not only with his striking, but with his much-discussed wrestling. There's no doubt that Maddalena is on an impressive run. He's won 17 straight fights, but he's never fought past the 3rd round. While JDM is an underdog heading into the UFC 315 main event, if he beats Muhammad, then things could get really interesting. Recently, Dan Hooker told Submission Radio that he fully expects Islam Makhachev to move up to welterweight if a new champion is crowned at UFC 315. If JDM wins, 100% Islam will go up and fight for the welterweight belt. That's what they're all waiting on this weekend before anything gets announced with Islam or Ilya or any of that. And then we'll probably see Charles and Topuria fighting for the lightweight belt. If Islam stays, he'll fight Ilya for the belt. UFC 315 aside, recently ESPN shared out an interesting cameo Muhammad was paid to do. Check it out.
Hey, what's up, Robert? Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. This is the welterweight champion. I know you were wishing it was Leon Edwards, but it's not. It's Billy B. So, hope you have a splendid day, and hope you have a splendid year. Welcome to the new era.
Chael Sonnen reacts to Ariel Helwani's comments. Recently, Ariel Helwani argued that the UFC has hit a recession, but his buddy and former UFC star Chael Sonnen disagrees. For a little while now, there's been talk about whether the UFC is in a bit of a funk. There have been reports that ESPN is not happy with the pay-per-view numbers UFC cards are generating, and many pundits have questioned whether the promotion has enough bankable stars. Further, plenty of fans have griped about the lack of depth on the UFC Fight Night cards recently. Well, Helwani recently argued that the UFC is, quote, in a recession. MMA is in a really tough spot. There's no number 2, Lord knows there's no number 3, especially not here in North America. The UFC, they'll have their big shows, once a month a pay-per-view, typically top-heavy. Those comments and others prompted Sonnen to argue via his YouTube channel that in comparison to a couple of years ago, the UFC is doing just fine. Sonnen made the argument after noting how much a card he fought Shogun Rua on back in 2013 generated.
I'm moving that out, 7.6 million. The praise and the acclaim and the credit that I got for doing that, but I just want to bring this to you. That was 7.6 million. It was a record. They are now doing 2 and 2.3 million on a Saturday show that 2 years ago would have been done with no gate at the Apex. Because for Ariel to say that it's in a recession, the exact same Saturday cards, the ESPN cards, the non-pay-per-views that used to be done with no gate at the Apex are now drawing each Saturday between 1.8 and 2.3 million dollars.
It is an interesting argument, and of course Dana White has cited fiscal numbers and records in the past, while dismissing the notion that the UFC's cooled off. But what do you think? Is the UFC going through a tough time? Daniel Cormier talks about the perfect time for UFC fighters to retire. During a recent podcast, DC talked about the perfect time for UFC fighters to retire. Here's what he had to say on the podcast.
Listen to not only your body, because your body's going to tell you first, right? Your mind will actually tell you. You know when it's time. Not everybody gets what Khabib got. Khabib literally got a fairy tale. Him and George St. Pierre got to leave on top. Not everybody gets that. When you don't love to train no more, you're probably done. When you don't love the competition or look forward to it anymore, you're probably done. I didn't need to fight that last fight against Stipe. We did a training camp in my garage. The last two. I didn't need to. There was way too much money at the time. The money got way too good. And for all young fighters, start to look down the line a little bit. Nothing's wrong with looking at what's next when the career is over. I was able to do that, and I'm lucky I did, because look at my life today.
Kevin Holland reacts to Rampage Jackson comments. Recently, Kevin Holland and Rampage Jackson got into it on the Jackson podcast, which prompted Jackson to follow up with a diss track. But it looks like all is going to be well between these two men. During the appearance, which took place before Holland lost to Rainier de Ridder at UFC 311, things got heated over a joke that Rampage made about him in the past. That spiraled into the two talking about how a fight between them would actually play out. More recently, Jackson told Ariel Helwani that he thinks Holland could be a champion if he focused more on his fighting career. He also revealed he wrote a diss track about Trailblazer. Well, in response, Holland posted this via social media. "I'm not mad at you, Rampage. I got paid good off the podcast, got a free 45.70, and technically 8 head of thanks OG. Do you think this will squash their beef?" Francis Ngannou breaks silence on horrible collision, following reports that Francis Ngannou was involved in a motorcycle accident that tragically resulted in a woman being killed. The former UFC champion has released a statement. The accident occurred last month in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and the woman who reportedly lost her life was 17 years old. While the investigation is still ongoing, it's also been reported that Ngannou paid for the young woman's medical bills. More recently, the PFL champ issued the following statement to TMZ regarding the situation. "From the very beginning, I've been by the family's side, offering support, comfort, and deepest condolences during this time. I've met with them privately to share in their grief, and I will continue to stand with them every step of the way. I carry their pain with me, and my unwavering thoughts and support remain with them as they face this heartbreaking loss." Hopefully, the family and Ngannou are able to recover from this emotionally, as best they can. It remains to be seen when the renowned fighter will return to the ring or cage. We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.